So now we'll look at some problems that are best solved using systems of equations. And there are a lot of interesting problems like that. One of the most important things to keep in mind is that they're most easily solved and organized by putting a box or a table to organize the information. And I'll show you that in the next couple of examples. Okay, so take a read on this question. We know that we have 27 coins, some are nickels, some are dimes, and they're worth $2.25. The question is, how many nickels do we have and how many dimes do we have? So, as I mentioned before, these problems are always best solved by using a table to organize the information, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to organize the information as you see. I want to put variables in for the number of nickels and the number of dimes, and the value that each will have, and then I'll use the information that I know, that there are 27 total, and the total value is $2.25, to get the solution. So the way it looks is I need to use variables. So I'm going to let n, that's a good variable, and d represent the number of nickels and dimes we have. But remember, we know that the total number is 27. So this is our total. Now how about the value? If I have n nickels, how much are they worth? 0.05 n. And the dimes are worth 0.10 d. But what I know is the total value, I'm given that information, is $2.25. So now what I have are two equations in two unknowns. The first equation is n plus d is equal to 27. And the second equation is going to be 0.05 n plus 0.10 d is equal to 2.25. So I'm going to rewrite this as n plus d is equal to 27, and multiplying through both sides here by 10, just to get rid of the decimals, I get 5n plus 10d is equal to 225. So here is my system. And how do you think we should solve it? Should we use the substitution method, or should we use the multiplication elimination problem system? So in this case, I think you should agree that it's easiest to use substitution. And if I look at the top equation, I can solve easily for n or d and get this. Now I'm going to take that value for n and plug it in for n here. And I'm going to have very little room here. And so what I'll do is I'll simply write it out and expect you to solve it. So 5 times 27 minus d plus 10d is equal to 225. So we've been doing these problems for a long time. And what I'll ask you to do is press pause and solve this and come back and see if you get the same solution that I get. Okay, I hope you got that d is equal to 18. And if d is equal to 18, then n is equal to 9. And just like with any word problem, we always want to answer the question in a full sentence. And so we say, we have 18 dimes and 9 nickels. Okay, and that's an application of using systems of equations. Alright, so let's take a look at this problem. And this will be the last one we'll look at in this section. We are investing a total amount of $14,000, some at 5.5% and some at 9%. We know what the total interest is after 1 year, and the question is, how much did we invest at each rate? So once again, as always, we're going to use a table to solve this. So here's how this table should look. And of course it's going to take a little time until you get to the point where you know exactly how to set these tables up. But we're talking about how much did we invest at each rate. And so let's call this A and this B. And we know that the total is 14,000. What's the value? Well, the value, the interest for $A at 5.5% is 0.055A. And this is going to be 0.09B. And what we know is that the value here is 910. And so there you see your two equations, they pop up. So the first equation is A plus B is equal to 14,000. And the other one is, if I multiply everything by 3 zeros, 1,000, I'm going to get 55A plus 90B is equal to 910,000. And there's my system of equations. Big numbers, but the technique should be obvious. And the technique here lends itself to substitution one more time. And so I can say A is equal to 14,000 minus B. And I take that expression for A, and I put it in for A here. And I'm going to leave that work to you, but if you do that work carefully, what you get is that A is equal to 10,000 and B is equal to 4,000. And so you want to make sure you answer in a full sentence. So in this case, we've already established that you should know how to solve a system of equations. The big part of these problems is organizing it in a table and then trying to figure out exactly what the two equations are going to be. Once you've done that, solving it should be okay. All right, see you next time.